keeping targets up as Ragnaros landing a 4-man Sulfurous Smash, Durance of Hate from Mephisto, and this combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak, make it a quad kill set up by that East.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubrak, 4 at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jaina just pulling up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5
And it
for
does
nothing.
not fall up. What a play. Oh my God, somebody please clip that.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. Tonight, we got a doubleheader for you. Going to be a whole lot of Division C action. We're going to start off on the East Coast with this matchup between Death and Delay and PrimeApes. I'm going to hope I don't knock my head on my microphone here. I need to find a better position for this. But for right now, it's here. And then later tonight, we're going to see Cosmos versus Clouded Minds from C West. So there you go. We've got all kinds of exciting and fun action for you. Let's take a look at where these teams are in the standings. Right now we've got Death and Delay sitting at number 7 with 10 points, but right behind them, PrimeApes, number 9 there with 8 points. Of course, Death and Delay, not really 7. They're tied for 6th with Scalding Sweat Cult and Team Tiny. I think I actually cast Death and Delay and Scalding Sweat Cult. Got it? But Division C-East here, quite the division. 13 teams in Division C-East. All of them still active, apparently. I only say apparently because that's a lot of teams, and none of them withdrawn, it looks like. So, good on Division C-East for sticking with it and making sure that they get all these games in. That's a lot of games. But one team could take as many as 3 points tonight. That would be enough to put PrimeApes right up there in a solid solo 6th place. Or maybe Death and Delay. They could tie up with Ban Cho in 5th. Our map bans for the evening need to be updated. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, that's why I don't have the reset. And I said, let there be maps. And there were. All right, Death and Delay, starting off with the bans on Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity. We're going to see from PrimeApes the bans onto Tomb of the Spider Queen and Sky Temple. Our first selection of the evening is going to be Volskaya Foundry, the selection of PrimeApes. And if you heard in the background there, got a draft ready to go. That's not supposed to show up there. Lulu's not here either. All right. Who is this noob caster? Anyways, we got our draft ready to go here, and we're starting off with our first ban coming up. There were some changes to some heroes yesterday. There were some patches into Tracer, so she's not as solid as she was before, but Cassia getting some love. Maybe we'll see a little bit of Cassia now with those improvements. But we're going to start off with ETC. Some of the tanks actually got some benefit too, right? Stitches got a little bit more health. Nubrak got some more shielding, so maybe we'll see a little bit more representation, maybe from that Nubrak with that extra shielding. And if you're looking at the screen and you're kind of confused, you're not wrong. There are actually 2 of me, apparently, on the screen. Now, we all know that, you know, numbers matter. And so my number, Arrow 1377, is clearly superior to the arrow on the screen, who is 12,000 and change. So there you go. PrimeApes bringing up their arrow. And you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, everybody should have an arrow on there. But we're going to see the Kael'thas and Stukov band. So all three of these heroes really good on Volskaya for the points, right? You've got, which is where most of the fighting is going to take place. And Johanna, the final ban, also quite good with these points. So Kael'thas can obviously cause a lot of chaos with his living bombs. Flame Strike can do significant damage in that control point area. But Stukov gets that same value. Being able to silence a large portion of the control point makes it very difficult for an engage, or in some cases a disengage. But we're going to see a first pick Nazebo. And that's an interesting pick. I wonder if we're going to see Nazebo in a 4-man. Is this a solo lane Nazebo? Is it a double soaking Nazebo? What are we going to get out of this Nazebo? Rhaegar, interestingly enough, also getting a little bit of a buff. God, that is so confusing. But it's going to be Arrow on Raynor. So Rhaegar there getting a buff to his level 20 Ancestral. Right, his upgrade. So we'll see how that turns out, if it's even picked. But it's gonna be Diablo and Karazim. So a couple of heroes that want to be able to dive in. They've got a lot of mobility. Occasionally I miss my arrow. Fair enough, Shui. So yeah, so Diablo's looking for those shadow charges, looking for a stun. Maybe we see some zombie walls comboed with those stuns. Maybe we see Karazim diving in with that 7-sided if they can get a good isolation there. It's gonna be Greymane, and you know what? I think Greymane is a fantastic ban. With the Diablo there, a shadow charge with a cursed bullet right behind it is instantly gonna turn into a dead hero when they follow up with maybe a Nazebo spiders. Diablo, we got Nazebo, and we've got Li Ming. You know, I'm kind of surprised, just in general, at how much value Li Ming has had in a variety of matches, games I've played in. She gets picked a lot, and again here she can throw those orbs from long distance and hit a pretty wide swath of the control point. But the Maiev and Mal'Ganis, I really like these picks. Maiev setting up the Warden's Cage after a Mal'Ganis sleep means big value. It also kind of causes a little bit of problems, right? Diablo wants to charge in. Karazim is going to be able to get out. He's got that mobility, but Diablo wants to charge in. So if Maiev can build those Warden's Cages correctly, suddenly Diablo is putting himself in a risky position. And it's going to be Thrall and Uther MacDaddy-O. Uther also getting a little bit of love here with his upgraded Divine Shield. And if you read those patch notes, that was a fun thing to read. Basically saying that the upgraded Divine Shield just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough having 2 people with Divine Shield when you could do all of those other things. We're going to give you everybody. And that, I mean, that's a good pick for the late game, which is what they've got with this Nazebo, Uther, and depending on how Thrall builds, you know, it could be a late game value from Death and Delay. PrimeApes, I think they're looking for this potential blow up. I mean, you get a sleep from Mal'Ganis with an Imperious Celestial Charge. I mean, that's a big burst of damage. Just so long as they don't go too hard into counter synergy, right? If they get the penetrating round, if they get the Umbral Bind from Maiev, any of those things, and suddenly you're just not getting as much value as you. We'll just have to see how PrimeApes plays this one out. On Volskaya Foundry here. And if you've been watching, if you keep track of what's going on in the world of Heroes of the Storm videos, highlights, and things like that, you know there's a video out there of Imperius. AI bot. 1v, I think 6ing, technically. I think there was a Rexar bot in there with Amisha, or Rexar with Amisha. But 1v6ing or 1v5ing an entire enemy team on this map. And if you haven't seen that, you should definitely look for that. It's absolutely bonkers. Game is taking its sweet time. Doesn't want to rush this tonight. Take your time, relax, slow down. It's like the pandas say, Mists of Pandaria, slow down. All right, we're on to game number 1 between Death and Delay and PrimeApes. We're going to start over here with the home team on the left. It's Death and Delay. We've got MZ17 on the Kerosene. We got Delta Sniper playing Nazebo. Iron Maiden on good old Diablo. Mac Daddy O on Uther. And Dauntress going to be playing. And on the right, we got PrimeApes. It's going to be Arrow playing the Raynor. Iva. Got that Maiev. 11th on the Rhaegar. We got Frozen on the Mal'Ganis. And Joshua Scott going to be playing that Imperius. All right, so taking a look at our talents, everybody on the side of Death and Delay has some kind of stacking talent, mostly from their level 1 quests. But, you know, Diablo coming in with his base trait. So, Feast on Fear for that extra healing when he manages to charge somebody into a wall or flip him. But Mac Daddy O going to be caught here with that tether and pulled in, falling down a little bit. Keeping in mind, of course, Uther doesn't have amazing healing. Right, his benefit is in his armor, his devotion aura, giving that 25 armor. And checking out down in the bot lane here, Imperius bringing Thrall down about a quarter of his health pretty quickly. So both those heroes do have some self-sustain. The wave clear, I think, ultimately goes in favor of Thrall, so we'll have to see how they turn out down in the bot lane. And also keep track of the Nazebo stacks. There's Diablo getting the flip onto Rhaegar. Rhaegar not even bothering to go in wolf form. He's just going to walk away there. But it's ultimately going to be Diablo from Death and Delay falling first. First blood in favor of PrimeApes. Nazebo sitting currently at 17 stacks. As sitting in the 4-man here, giving him the opportunity to build up those stacks here going forward. As both teams are going to start working on their fortification camps. Now, Karazim, of course, working on these insight stacks, sitting at 13 so far, and working on that quest while building up a camp gives you just makes it so easy for you, right? Kind of surprised that we didn't see maybe PrimeApes come in and recognize that that was going on and say, hey, you know what, let's just steal this. But that's all right. They're going to get their camp first, and things are just going a little. Occasional pauses here. Flip there onto the Mal'Ganis. The 3v2, even still, Uther in about 20% health. And I think he went back to maybe try to tap, but didn't have it, maybe. Siege camp picked up here by PrimeApes. They're already up a full level. And with that, they're going to start on the support camp. They've got pressure up in the top lane. Their waves have been cleared in the mid and top, and everybody from Death and Delay has to go back, gather mana here. But Uther getting pulled back by the Maiev is going to get stunned by the Fellclaws. But Diablo coming in was just about to make it, but Raynor coming in clutch and finishing that kill. So 2 kills to none so far in favor of PrimeApes, as they move on to control point A to get the channel started. Imperius rotating down. They're still about a half a level ahead. Lost a little bit of that XP advantage when they were working on the support camp, and Death and Delay was able to pick up those minions that hadn't quite gotten to them yet. They were basically just a bank. King's going out calling for the Raynor. They did get the root onto Raynor there, but nobody was really close enough to follow up. As we get to the halfway point on control point A. And the siege camp up in the top lane here is finishing up the wave. Nazebo trying to get those stacks. But it's Uther who's getting stunned by the Celestial Charge, pulled back by the Warden's, or the Umbral Bind. And Uther, once again, going to be sent off. And that's all but going to secure this first control point and this first protector in favor of PrimeApes. Sending Raynor and Mal'Ganis into the protector. They already did have this wall basically down with the 2 towers. So they're going to get a little bit of damage onto the fort. It looks like they're a little bit undecided about where they want to go as Nazebo getting those spiders. And of course, with that level 7 talent, he now has 5 spiders currently stacked up to 70, so 30 away from getting the big burst of damage there. But it's still a lot of damage that goes onto that protector. Having 5 of those little baby spiders just pelting away. Protector sitting at half health is going to push away the Diablo. But they haven't quite gotten this wall. Thrall falling to the Imperius in the bot lane. As PrimeApes looking to finish this up. They do get the healing well as the Protector sitting about 30% health here. And shutting down the tower, trying to see if they can't get a little more. Now, they do still have Raynor in there, so not the most mobile, but he does have that penetrating round. But the spiders picked up by Nazebo, sitting at 63 sacks there. Diablo at 73, and we're going to see Uther complete his quest here in a moment. Needs one more hit. Got to find something to auto-attack there. But the invade coming in, aggressive play by PrimeApes, and they don't have Maiev right here. This is currently a 5v4. Let's see how this plays out as the stun going in onto Mal'Ganis. He's very low, is going to fall. Biotic emitter drop, but 11th is going to pick it up. Here comes the Warden's, sorry, not Warden's Cage, the Tether again. Pulls in Karazim, and he's going to fall. Delta Sniper getting really low from the Imperius as well, but there's the Bloodlust coming out just to make sure that they can finish off the Diablo. So it started off looking a little bit unfavorable, a little bit before that level 10, losing the Mal'Ganis, but once Maiev came in, and certainly once the level 10 talents came online, PrimeApes really taking control of that fight. That's going to give them now a Biotic emitter here to replace the one that they used in the last fight. And with those kills, that's going to put them a little bit over a full level ahead. About a level, almost a level and a half now. I am going to go ahead and use that Shadow of Vengeance to get out. Her Warden, what is that? Warden Flip? Whatever we call it. Let's take a look, shall we? Give us your secrets. Vault of the Wardens. That's what it is. We knew that. I was just checking if you guys knew that. Right now, PrimeApes has mostly been in control of this game. They did lose one in that previous fight, the Mal'Ganis, but they've had control over the support camp, and for the most part, with the exception of the very first turret picked up by Karazim, this has been a equipment game for PrimeApes, and those equipment provide a lot of value. The damage from the turrets, the 40% healing and mana coming from the Biotic emitter is like having a 6th man. Ultimately. And level 13 is coming up. It's just around the corner here for PrimeApes. So really, if Death and Delay wants to take a fight, this is the time to do it. Before the control point, try to get this XP and make something happen. If they've got their abilities, which they do. There's the stun, and Frozen going to go ahead and use the Carrion Swarm. Here comes the Warden Cage. They've got 3 in there, I think. Make it... Yeah, the 4th was just outside, so Uther's going to fall as Diablo falling, the Celestial Charge hitting both Diablo and Karazim, and it turns out that when all of the R buttons are pressed, at least this time, PrimeApes. And that's going to give them now the fort. It does also give them another half a level in XP, so they're 2 levels ahead now of Death and Delay. So Death and Delay really needs to find some value. They don't want to just leave this open, though. And with that turret here, Arrow dropping that, using it to tank the damage from the wall so that they can get some damage here. And that's a great thing for PrimeApes. Setting up for potentially this Protector to take down that keep wall, possibly even get damage onto the keep. Just depends on what happens with any of those kills. Nazebo there using those toads just to check that bush. Good thing he did. There was quite the bush party there hanging out. Curious. Joshua Scott all by himself. Diablo's going to charge in, flip him over. The Molten Armor going out. Seven-sided coming out is going to get most of it onto Imperius, but Maiev takes a little bit. Not enough, though, as Imperius will fall. And that just might be some of the momentum they need to make this happen. That said, the Protector is available. Rhaegar and Raynor in there, although they're going to switch out the Mal'Ganis there. And they're going to go ahead and get to work on the mid fort, bring that down as the majority of Death and Delay working on the Protector, but never mind. Diablo recognizing the isolated Raynor there. Going to go ahead and charge in, get that kill. And up to the top lane, moving on to the keep. I mentioned this earlier, the keep wall brought down fairly low while they were working on that control point. Now, it's Rhaegar and Mal'Ganis in here. So, there's no... I mean, I guess Uther can cleanse. They're going to get knocked away, but the sleep is coming out. There's the root, and they're all going to sleep. Here's the Divine Storm with seven-sided. So seven-sided not really getting max potential going into three people like that. Celestial Charge coming out onto Mac Daddy O, but there's the Bloodlust. This is a 3v4. Looking for some heavy aggression here out of PrimeApes. Still a 3v4, and they're still doing just fine. Meanwhile, mounting pressure in the mid lane. Mounting pressure in the bot lane, thanks to Maiev. Support camp now, the call for PrimeApes. And they're looking, right? They've been on top of these camps all game. Fortification coming up here in a few seconds on the side of Death and Delay, popping up there right now. And PrimeApes is looking for that aggression. They've got the 16 advantage. They're instead going to go to the siege camp here. Pick that up. And with that siege camp, that gives them some minions to kind of take some of the damage shots from the tower. It gives them additional damage going into the tower. But they're instead going to pull back. And I like this call here from Death and Delay. If they're not going to defend that siege camp, then getting over here, recognizing that PrimeApes was on their siege camp, it gives them the opportunity to be aggressive on the camp invade, especially since the next likely call was for PrimeApes to come right down here to this fortification, which is what they're doing. Karazim dashing all over the place, using that air ally to get away from the potential threat there. And here we go. The fight over the fortification camp. And it's a tough call. If you're Death and Delay, do you fight this? Do you let him have it? And I think ultimately, yeah, you just kind of have to let him have it. I mean, at this point, the turret is just not worth having somebody die, especially since this control point is going to be coming up any moment now. But the third fort of the game will go down, and PrimeApes keeping that front line nice and clear. And once again, they're going to get started on the wall here. Setting up their possibility for control point C, the Protector, to walk right into that keep, potentially go on for the core. See Death and Delay looking for those last few minions for Diablo, last few minions for Nazebo, and more importantly, those last few minions for level 16. Siege camp going to get picked up by PrimeApes. They want that going while this control point is up because it's in the opposite lane, right? If this fight goes on for any extended period of time, which it likely could, that siege camp eventually just wins the keep. So why not? Puts them in a great position. Level 16's up for both teams. They're on the same talent tier. 2-level advantage for PrimeApes, so they get more health, more damage. But it's actually going to be Death and Delay coming down onto the control point first. And this is a control point that can be a little bit chaotic. With the Warden's Cage even, you could see a really rough time for Death and Delay. But PrimeApes saying, you know what, we recognize that that's a dangerous place, so we're going to continue to get structure damage. And this forces now Death and Delay to bring most of their players off the point. Death and Delay charging in, and this is a really... I don't like this at all. And it looks like they agree. But they ended up using two ultimates there, the Apocalypse and the Gargantuan. Rawl now is in mega danger. We see the danger pings here, and he's using his Wind Fury to try to get away, using that extra speed that he gets. And now, control point will begin for PrimeApes. Keeping in mind, of course, that they have the turret, the one turret, the biotic emitter. No items here for Death and Delay. But this siege camp now, with the catapult, is starting to pressure that top keep. The PrimeApes can afford to be patient here. Hey, Diablo going in. Here comes Maiev with the Shadow. Does pop that Warden's Cage. Mac Daddy-O right in the middle of the zombie wall. Here comes the seven-sided, getting only a little bit of value there. And Mac Daddy-O going to be the one to fall here. Does not have redemption. There's no level 20. Is Kerosene falling next. Diablo, the third to fall. Dantris here trying to get away from this Imperius. Not sure that he can. And you know what? Nazeebo, I thought Nazeebo was going to be pulled back by Maiev, but Maiev ultimately giving up the chase rather, and allowing Nazeebo to get away. With level 20s on the side now of PrimeApes, let's take a look at those talents. It'll be interesting to see, can they close this out with that Protector? Top keep did go down. And this is where you have to kind of ask yourself, do I want to go to the top lane? Do I want to take the Protector through that top lane so there's no keep to get in the way? Or do we just continue to mount pressure in the bot lane, go through the bottom keep, and then get to core? I think the call here is probably going to be this bottom keep. Have enough pressure, it's closest, they don't have to spend 30 seconds walking up. But much like we saw before the objective, we've got Death and Delay getting their, wait. I don't know if you guys heard that, but the game just said the blue team is taking control of the Protector. Go home, Hots. You're clearly drunk. But they're not electing to go through the bottom. They're actually going to go through the top. They have to... Or they're going to go through mid. They have level 20. So either way, I mean, they've got the advantage here. But this Protector is falling pretty quickly. It's already down 25%. Diablo getting the flip onto Mal'Ganis. Mal'Ganis there getting a nice Fell Claws here. And the Apocalypse getting a big stun. But here comes the Bloodlust. With all of three, their Angelic Armaments does get some damage out there. Mac Daddy-O pulling away. Isn't going to make it. Falls to the Protector as Seven Strided trying to keep Kerosene alive. And Diablo falling to that Mal'Ganis. Bloodlust just now falling off. And the Protector making its way onto the core. And it is falling quickly. The shield already gone. But Dantris not done. Trying to see if he can't get some of these heroes down. Needs to turn around and look at the Rhaegar, but it's not going to matter. Game number 1 going over to PrimeApes. All right, 4 kills to 15, and I did mention in that game a couple of times that overall, you know, PrimeApes had a lot of control in that map. They had the strength on the structures. Don't think that Death and Delay was able to get any of the structures down at all, unless they got one down there at the end and that top lane because of that camp. But ultimately, PrimeApes doing a really good job of controlling this map. They had the potential for that wombo with Maiev and Mal'Ganis, and I think on the side of Death and Delay, they had a lot of things that they just couldn't quite get worked out, right? They couldn't quite get the combo to work out with maybe, you know, the Nazeebo zombie walls to isolate heroes, and the seven-sided it hits the person with the highest health. So if you have a bunch of people, it's basically just a kind of a self cleanse button, in a way, a self ice block. But there were some times there where it just didn't quite connect. There was that fight 4v3 top. They couldn't just quite get everything to line up. So hopefully going into game number 2, they look at how can they coordinate those CC options that they have, like with the Diablo Uther, with the Nazebo, a kind of an isolation, almost like a Force Wall, like from Tassadar, with the root with Brawl as well. And if they can do that, then I think game number 2 turns into a different prospect. They certainly did get some kills out of these combos. They just couldn't convert them into additional kills. It looks like we're set up and ready to go for the next game, so let's go ahead and switch back over to here, see what we're doing and where we're going for game number 2. Probably go ahead and give them their point 2, huh? What do you think? Right. So it looks like for our next game, once again, it is selected by PrimeApes here. And we are going to be going to Towers of Doom. So a pretty different map from the Volskaya. You do still have areas of control where people are going to be wanting to fight. And I think this map, more than any other, really requires a presence of mind of what can you accomplish? What can you do in the time that your opponents are dead when you have an advantage? Can you take a fort for additional points? Can you take the boss? Can you, potentially 6-cap? Can you get sappers through? Can you checkmate with sappers in one lane and with the boss? Like, there's so many different ways you're playing chess on this map, and apparently they were all ready to go. I didn't even look. I'm over here talking and writing down notes about their last game, but let's get into this draft. Waiting for players. And I think we'll have to see. I noticed that the game was continuing to pause there last game. We'll see if I tried making some adjustments. We'll see if that works. If it doesn't, then I've got one other thing I'll try. Just see if we can't fix that. But Towers of Doom, this is the selection of PrimeApes. Death and Delay going to be the first pick. They're going to stick with that Stukov that they banned out in game 1. We had Kael'thas and Johanna banned out from PrimeApes. Could potentially get some value here as well, especially if they're looking to go further into that Maiev Mal'Ganis combo that they had, the Maiev Mal'Ganis Imperius combo that they had, because I mean, Kael'thas throws out one living bomb and suddenly everybody dies, right? So it's going to be Zool, the ban, and I'm not going to complain about that. Zool is a fantastic ban here. Apes not monkeying around anymore. That is true, Ronan. That is true. They really, they definitely put the brakes on the monkeying around. Mal'Ganis going to be the second ban here from Death and Delay, and again, that set up a lot. I don't know, like, if you're looking at that, is Mal'Ganis the one that set up the plays, or was it Maiev? And I think Maiev provided more to PrimeApes than the Mal'Ganis did. That's in no way to diminish the value that Mal'Ganis brought, but I think that Maiev set up a lot of plays and played very well. But it's going to be Rhaegar first pick. Mac Daddy O switching off that Uther. Wants to pick up the newly minted Rhaegar with his special ancestrals. Hey, Ronan, thanks for the clovers. Game category is set to WoW. Uh-oh. That's what I get for doing that the other day. Heroes of the... There you go. But thank you for the bits, Ronan. Showing up those clovers. I love the animated clovers. Johanna and Lucio. So Johanna was banned in game number 1, but she's coming in now. This is some awesome WoW play, isn't it, Shui? It's updated now. All right, let's see. So Frozen has the Johanna, and we got the Lucio with 11th. Lucio does get a lot of value here. He can help enable the rotations very quickly between that mid and bot lane, enabling them to clear the waves, and also potentially to get faster to those when we've got those double altar phases. MZ17 going to pick up the Varian. Was playing Harazim last game, so a little bit of a, in a way, kind of a role swap there. And then Iron Maiden going from the Diablo to the Sylvanas. So is this going to be a taunt Varian? As we see the Grey Mane banned once again. And I mean, I think if they were going to go Grey Mane, I think they would have picked it over Sylvanas if they were going for taunt Varian. But Li Ming, once again, the ban out of Death and Delay. And there's the Maiev, there's the Orphea. And this could be another really kind of disgusting combo for PrimeApes to run. Right? You get a Warden's Cage, you get Orphea with that Eternal Feast maybe, even if it's not Eternal Feast, even if it's the Crushing Jaws, Warden's Cage brings everybody to the center, makes it real easy to land that combo. But you know what doesn't get caught by a combo is a Wraithwalking Leoric. Shui? Is that you, Shui? Oh no, rip. Shui is a sub for, I'm assuming a sub because he's not here, for Death and Delay. Shui, of course, the former solo lane of the Division C Grand Champions Season 6. Well, you'll just have to see my my mug. Season 6 Grand Champions, Regen Red. But it's going to be Rexxar here for Joshua Scott. So we got the Vala as well that I completely just barreled right over. So a lot of potential damage with the Sylvanas, the Vala. We got the Taunt Varian, I'm assuming. So if they can get somebody and, you know, Vala can like get either like a double arrow, depending on her build, if she gets that burst from the multi-shot, could be a lot of damage onto that one target. It's going to be up to Lucio with a sound barrier, or dare I say it, I5? Probably not. Probably not. It's not going to be I5, but it could be. So we'll see. I should be doing polls. I just don't feel like doing a poll tonight. I have to type in all that jazz. Well, I purchased a mug, Shui. I had to actually pay my own dollars for that. It was important to me. It was important. Gotta recognize those achievements. Speaking of achievements, let's get into game number 2 on Towers of Doom. Currently up 1-0. PrimeApes. We've got Joshua Scott. Oh, I gotta do the... There you go. We got Joshua Scott playing the Rexxar. 11th on the Lucio. Arrow gonna be playing the Orphea. Hiva on the Maiev. And Frozen gonna be playing Johanna.
The battle begins in...
And for the left, it's Death and Delay. We got Iron Maiden playing the Sylvanas. Mac Daddy-O on the Rhaegar. MZ17 going to be playing the Varian. Delta Sniper on the Vala. And up in the top lane, it's Dontris playing Leoric. So we do see here maybe a little bit of Sylvanas cheese, making use of this Sylvanas, the Vala, and the glorified minion of Varian to possibly get in on this tower. They do take a little bit of an extra moment there to pause. And they do make their way onto the bottom tower. They should be able to get this down quickly enough. So Orphea is going to make it down. Oh, they're not quite going to get it. Close. About 90-95% of it down. But they make it out safely. Yeah, the shirt was the standard, and some of us may have purchased some additional things, like I got a sweatshirt and a mug and something else, I think. Oh, I got the Regen Red sticker. But there you go. All right, so let's check in. So we got Rexxar and oh, never mind. We'll watch this, and it's gonna be Vala falling to Orphea just at the last moment there. First blood. Right. So with that kill, we've got Maiev and Orphea coming in onto the aggressive camp here. And it doesn't look like Death and Delay is really kind of aware of this, or they just don't want to force the fight. Fully aware that ultimately Varian isn't going to bring them enough to this fight to really enable their team fight yet. Siege camp coming in is going to get most of that top tower, so equalizing the siege damage in the bot lane so far. And it looks like Rexar is going to be looking for that double soak. I have to assume that at level 4, Leoric just handily wins that. So we'll see. Misha is going to fall. And the siege camp is coming out here for PrimeApes. I imagine they're going to look to take down as much of this as they can so that the siege camp can maybe get into some better structures. And it looks like that's exactly the case. It's going to get the wall, maybe even this tower. Maiev getting a big Umbral Bind there onto 3. And they're not done. The reset's coming out. Look out. Hiva popping off with these Fan of Knives. Going to get the kill finished by Orphea onto Sylvanas. And the taunt coming out onto Maiev just in time. Does Maiev get that that disengage with the Shadow of Vengeance? First altar phase coming up. It is a triple altar. 2 in the top, 1 in the mid. I'll have to see how our teams elect to separate on this. Leoric still soaking in this mid lane as Rexar up in the top, and Sylvanas is going to gather the upper here, and it looks like maybe 2 of them just going to go over to PrimeApes largely uncontested. So right now, Death and Delay just taking their time trying to gather the XP, catch up, and doesn't want to put themselves in an awkward position having to fight without their heroics. But we'll see. And Elaine getting pushed up, so this should get this tower down. It wasn't quite able to get down from earlier, but just a couple of auto attacks from Lucio. That'll finish the job. As level 7 up first for PrimeApes. And this is kind of an ideal situation for PrimeApes. They want to be able to dominate this bottom lane, especially since they've got the slower clear, the slower XP clear in the upper half of the map. They've got to get more value here since they're not going to get as much with Rexar. Big taunt there, but Iron Maiden and Mac Daddy O going to be caught by Maiev with that Umbral Bind. And Maiev really doing some work here. I mentioned it earlier with the Phantom Knife resets, but ultimately able to get the multi-tethers and convert those into kills so very often. 4 times so far this game that they've been able to get some kills. And I don't know. I think that Death and Delay has got to find a way to spread out a bit. They don't really have a team that needs to be close together. They don't have a whole bunch of melee. They've just got the Leoric and Varian, and Leoric's in another lane. So to get those Phantom Knife resets, ultimately Maiev is getting a lot of value there. They gotta position a little bit better for that one. Leoric's not here, so there's a 5v4. There's the taunt going out onto Johanna. She's going to go ahead and pop her Unstoppable and back away as Maiev looking for the Rhaegar. The points going over, however, in that time to the PrimeApes. Varian getting caught along with the Rhaegar here. Frozen looking for the kill, but instead going to fall to the damage of Vala and Sylvanas. Vala, however, getting picked by Maiev. Pulled in with that tether, but not able to convert that kill. I think maybe if they had slightly better timing on the spell usage there, maybe they could have gotten it, but it's hard to say, right? The abilities from Orphea have a long cooldown other than her Q, and only, obviously, even Q isn't super short unless you hit another hero, so level 10's up for PrimeApes. What are they going to do with it? And now they're going to push bot lane. And as Death and Delay's coming in behind, they're going to be level 10 soon, so I think they could be a little bit patient. There's level 10, so both teams are available here. And Maiev sending out her Shadow. Is going to pull away, so Vault of the Wardens is down. Can Death and Delay take advantage of that fact? And here she comes. There's the Warden's Cage. They got 3 in it. Here comes the Eternal Feast. Bloodlust coming out with Sound Barrier, though, on the other side. That's a triple kill already. And Varian trying to get away is going to get slowed, knocked back, I assume, in a moment here, or rather pulled back with the Condemn. And that's a quad kill coming out for PrimeApes. And I think right here, like, they've got both of these altars. They don't have a ton of time, but they do have a little bit of time. And with this wave, they could likely take this down. Maybe even get an extra point or two out of the altars. But instead, they're going to get the points, put those in the bank, and get this tower afterwards. 20-36 the score in favor of PrimeApes. They're going to get this siege camp as well. This is 4v4. We saw this just a moment ago. The ultimates are only partially up here. There's the Eternal Feast, as Varian getting stunned is going to use his Protect there, and the Cleanse coming out from Rhaegar, allowing him to get out of danger. All going to try to clear up one of those sappers, but one does make it all the way around. Likely will fall with this defense. It's very difficult to get these sappers through when both teams have everybody alive. Especially with a Vala Sylvanas, where you can spread that damage. You got some multi-shot, you got some, I don't know, whatever, Shadow Dagger. But there's one left alive. He came in late. And there's Dauntress, maybe looking for a Warden's Cage. Isn't going to connect here, but I'm sorry, the whatever, Entomb, but the Warden's Cage is going to happen. Silence going out is going to force the disengage from Frozen, but they do get the kill onto Lucio, so great start for them so far. Varian looking for more. Can he get this kill onto Johanna? And it's enough. Even under the tower, but here comes Rexar, and everybody's so low on the side of Death and Delay, but it doesn't matter. Orphea is going to fall now. Haiva also very low, so has to be really careful here, even though Death and Delay is so low. A couple of Fan of Knife resets could end Death and Delay's day and really put them in an awkward place, but instead, they get a triple kill between Lucio, Johanna, and Orphea, and now they're making their way on, and they're going to get their first altar since the very first round, and the next altar is the big one. The next altar is again going to be the triple altar. So Death and Delay looking for some XP here, getting some structure value, and there's 3 versus 4 here. They get a big kill onto Lucio with that taunt. Johanna now falling very low. Maiev getting caught as well, but they're going to lose Rhaegar and Vala with the Eternal Feast going on for days. Sylvanas going to fall as well. Varian is just right behind her, and now Leoric showing up to the party, making it a mega kill for PrimeApes. In favor of, I should say in favor of PrimeApes. Top 4, right? It started off so good, getting exactly what they wanted on the kill onto Lucio. But then they realized just a moment too late that they were in a position where Maiev can really excel, where Orphea can just pop off with that mage damage, and you can't dodge those Qs when you're down a narrow hallway. PrimeApes will pick up this bottom altar once again. And they have level 16. And here comes that triple altar. I mentioned this earlier. This is the potential for as many as 15 shots for PrimeApes if they're able to pick up all 3. And this could be the start of it right here. This is dangerous. We got Leoric coming in, but there's the Warden's Cage and the Feast. Sylvanas going to be the first to fall. She does get the silence out before then, though. The Sound Barrier coming in, and Rexar with the Boars going to get everybody slowed. Dauntress falling as the Fan of Knife coming in, getting Vala and the Tether again. Full team wipe again in favor of PrimeApes, and that's going to give them, this could potentially be game. They have 15 points available on all of the altars. They have boss, which is 4. That's 19. They have 3 sappers right here. That's 22 points available. And you see they're doing the math. They're heading to this boss, getting it started, and there's only a few moments left before the rest of Death and Delay can get up on the table. But it's not going to matter, as the boss is going to get picked up here, and that's going to be game number 2, going over to PrimeApes. Dauntress not done. Wants just a few more stats. See if we can get an interview. Somebody here from the PrimeApes. Take a look at these stats. 5 to 18. I think that was pretty close. It was like 4 to 15 or something in the first game. PrimeApes looking really strong in this. Doing a fantastic job. Hours of Doom. Really, again, controlling the map. They had great macro play. But their combos were just fantastic. And there wasn't almost anything that Death and Delay could do. And, hey, welcome. So, who do we got here? We got Josh.
This is
Josh.
yeah,
and Scott.
Josh here.
And who else is with you?
11th here.
11th. I can't believe you guys didn't send Arrow. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, that would have been funny. It was totally by coincidence too. We didn't plan for this. So yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, how could you, right? I'm the one who picked up the cast.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But
maybe next game we'll all rename our battle tags to Arrow, and then you can pick up our cast again.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I can guarantee you that at least one of the 3 arrows in NGS wouldn't enjoy that as much as you think they would.
Okay.
So, anyways, congratulations. You guys got a 2-0 domination, 3 points. How excited are you guys after this?
Yeah, we feel pretty good. I've always been joking because like the past couple of weeks have been kind of rough for us. As you might have noticed, we lost one of our players. He had like a lot of IRL stuff that he had to do, so he just couldn't like play with us for the rest of the season. So we picked up a new player. We also had the forfeit last week's match, and then like before that, we were just like throwing constantly and things like that. So it's been kind of rough for the past couple of weeks. But I always joke that this week was going to be like our redemption arc. So it feels good that we've like finally cleaned up some of our like macro stuff, and we were able to pull the victory today.
Sure. Well, that looked like a fantastic team setup that you guys had tonight. Oh, you guys are pointing that real quick. Cannot have it showing that you guys only earned 1 point. Got to give those to you. So, anyways, game number 1, you guys selected the map. We go to Volskaya Foundry. I'm not sure. You might have lost a fort at the very end. I know there was a camp going, but but ultimately, like, really dominant in both games. In the macro, picking up those support camps, picking up those turret camps, and as you're going through the map, really just kind of checking all of the boxes off. So you brought up a new player onto the team, like you said, you forfeited last week. How did you get to this point? Like, does that new player just make everything 100% better, or have you guys been putting in hours? Like, are you playing like The Rock and just putting in 18 hours at the computer? Like, what's going on? How do you get here?
Yeah, so I think before that we've always been, so we're like a really, really new team. So G Prime actually founded our team about like a week before NGS started. And I think like mechanically, every single one of us, I think we're like really, really good mechanically, but I don't think any of us have had like any actual like competitive league experience. And so we're like really, really new to this. We were in the beginning, we're having like a tough time getting our macro game together and like coming up with like a coherent strategy for how we play games. So a lot of our like previous games were kind of just all over the place. So I think it's definitely a combination of just like grinding. We have practice maybe 3 or 4 times a week for like maybe 2-3 hours, and we also play on our own. And like this past week, we were kind of, in a little bit of panic mode because we didn't look for a player, but we were very happy to pick up Arrow. He just happened to put, I guess, a application in the free agent pool. and we picked him up, and he's definitely been a really, really good presence for us. He has NGS experience, unlike the rest of us, and so he makes a lot of really, really good macro calls. So I definitely have to give credit to where credit's due. And I think I don't think that was like the single thing that kind of brought us together, but it definitely contributed.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, when you have somebody who's really familiar, I mean, playing in NGS in a competitive environment is vastly different than playing in a Storm League or a QM or an Unranked, right? There's a lot of moving parts that you have to be mindful of, and teams in NGS, that are, they may have silver or gold rankings, but if you pit them against another team, they may be a Div A team in some cases, right? Like they may play better as a team than they do as individuals. And so you really have to be mindful of those.
Especially, I think 11th can really speak for that, because I've always said 11th was like a top tier support player, because I don't know, I've seen him playing and he does like crazy stuff in game, right?
Well,
11th is like, yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, I think we're definitely, I think, working better as a team and still figuring all this stuff out, but it definitely feels good to get a win and to have it be a bit cleaner than some of our more recent games.
Sure. Now, I think, let me just take a quick peek here, but yeah, I was going to say, I thought you guys had 8. So that puts you at 11 points. That'll bump you just slightly ahead of Death and Delay, Scalding Sweat Cult, and Team Tiny, and right behind Band Show. So there are 13 teams in this division. There are 12 games that you have to play. Obviously, a bunch of flex matches in there. How are you guys coming on that? Do you have a lot of season left? Are you looking forward to some additional flex matches? How do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I think we're excited for it, and especially now that we're seem to be kind of pulling things together and hopefully moving in a better direction. I think we want to get as many games as we can and kind of capitalize on that redemption arc that Josh was talking about.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely agree.
And I do have to say, I mean, I'm not going to say entirely that it's Arrow, but I mean, if you're going to start with a great name, where you can only go, one way, which is higher from there, right? You're already starting at the top. You can only get better when you bring everybody along for the ride. So, shout out to Arrow.
Next week we might kick Josh and pick up somebody named Murda or something.
You know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea. So,
yeah.
All right. So last thing just here, you guys obviously did a lot of prep work with the practice and all that stuff, getting, kind of reorganizing a little bit about the team. What did you do specifically for this team, knowing that you were going to be playing against them here tonight? What does your general scouting look like? Do you just go look at Hero's profile and say, that's a thing? Or do you spend a lot of time like watching replays? How does a day-to-day life look for a PrimeApe?
We don't have like a set plan for scouting. We kind of just do it. We kind of just wing it, because we're monkeys. But what we did for this particular matchup is that we looked at the previous NGS matches from Death and Delay, and so we saw certain picks that so like during the drafting phase, we ban out heroes that like we just know that we don't want to play against, and then we might target ban something. So in today's match, we did target ban the KTZ for one of the matches. We did see that they played a lot of variant too, but we weren't too worried about it, because we figured we had a game plan. So we wanted to try to see if our strategy worked against their taunt variant.
Sure. Awesome. And so I'm going to ask you, I know who my answer is going to be, and I'll tell you after you give me your answer. Who would you say is your MVP for the match overall tonight?
I would say I think we should welcome Arrow onto the team and give it to him. I think he played great, and there were a couple times I thought somebody got away, and then he would, get a kill. So that was pretty great. So that would be my guess, and I'm thinking that that might be what you were thinking as well.
Yeah, I definitely second 11th on that.
Fair enough. So actually, Arrow was not who I was going to say, surprisingly. I will agree 100% that Arrow finished off a lot of kills for you guys there with the Rainer kill. I think even the first blood of game 1 onto Uther. Maybe that was the second kill. I don't remember. But, I literally was like, oh, Uther gets away. Nope, just kidding. you know, I think that was in top lane. And then, you know, obviously with Orphea getting a couple. I actually was going to say that in my mind, as, you know, just watching as things went on here, Haiva played an absolutely monstrous Maiev both games tonight. And I think that a lot of the combos that you guys had were set up really well with that Warden's Cage. And then obviously with the follow-up with the Eternal Feast and the stuns and just everything going in. And it turns out when everybody pushes our buttons and the dust settles, you guys get 3 kills.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah. But I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm gonna say that we're not trying to spread any rumors here. So I think Haiva's Maiev is, you know, just okay for anyone else listening. We definitely doesn't need to be banned. Definitely doesn't need to be banned. Yeah.
Sure, you know what? We can say that at the end. I mean, I said it in the middle of the thing that I was like, I don't know why they banned Mal'Ganis. I would have banned the Maiev. But yeah, I mean, and to be fair, I mean, Maiev is a fantastic hero to begin with. Can really cause a lot of disruption. And you guys, you know, banned out heroes that would have done that same thing against you with the Kael'thas, the Johanna, even the Zool. Really against your Rexar could have posed a lot of challenge. You guys played well tonight. I don't need to keep you here for an hour, which is when my next game is. So let's just go ahead and wrap it up. I have one last question for you, and then we'll go into shoutouts. You can each answer this. You can neither answer it, whatever you want to do. If you had a particular moment from tonight's game that you want to make sure that you bring up, that was a flashy play or just something exciting that was a highlight moment, what's your moment that you...
Well, like you had said, I think whenever you have, you know, a whole bunch of R's being popped at the same time, and you have a cage and you know, a bunch of AoE flying around, that's pretty exciting. But yeah, that's kind of what jumped out at me.
11th literally just described every single team fight. But go on.
Well, there was, a lot of fireworks those games.
Yeah, it's kind of fun when I think both teams are playing somewhat wombo-y comps. My moment wasn't. I don't think it was on stream, but because it was in the solo lane. But I think their thrall B-stepped me, and so then I killed him.
Oh no!
It was just funny.
That was bot lane in the first game, I'm assuming, during the first protector.
Yeah,
I
think
did
people
not catch
really
that.
underestimate. Yeah, people really underestimate the burst potential of Imperius, I think.
Yeah, I got the joy of experiencing that this week. So, not going to say anything on that. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up. Any shout-outs you'd like to make? Go ahead.
Well, thank you for streaming. We really appreciate it, and the interview's really fun, so thanks for doing that. But yeah, I guess shout out to G Prime. We miss him, and hope things are going well with IRL.
Yeah, and just echoing off of 11th, also shout out to Arrow, who's our new member, and it was a great, I guess, debut match for him.
Sure. Good deal. Well, from one Arrow to another, great job tonight, and you know, for you guys, congratulations on your victory, and don't forget to report your match. Get those 3 points.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, so that's going to wrap us up for our first set of the evening. And we got a long time till round number 2. So I think we're going to go ahead and put the stream on hold. I'm going to see if I can't send us over to somebody. See if I can get this darn thing to load. But see if I can't get us over to somebody casting in it. All right, who we got? Right, we'll send you over to... I like this. Tricky Gooses. We're going to send you over to Duke Zach, who is casting the One Tricks and Tricky Gooses from B-East. So, thanks everybody for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Make sure you come back in an hour. We got another Division C game. It's coming from Division C West. That's going to be Cosmos and Clouded Minds. So make sure you stop by for that. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you again soon.